So we're here with Mattias Melander. Now, just remind me, okay, we have your brother Marcus, your sister Michaela, and you. Is it just you three?
Yeah, it's just us three. Yeah.
Okay, so from what I gather, being around you guys for the last couple of years, Michaela's the muscle, Marcus is the brains, and you're the looks. How does that work? How's the triangle work?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. So I do have it right. Now what's the ages? Marcus is the oldest, then you or Michaela?
Mark's is the oldest. He's 28 this year. Michaela turned 26, and I turned 24.
You're the youngest one. How is the relationship with you guys? Did you guys all move over here at the same time from Sweden? You guys are pretty close. I know I tease my little sister who is 5, 6 years younger than me. So were you always the one getting pushed around and beat up as a kid?
Well, no, not really. I mean, like all siblings, you do you have fights and stuff like that when you're kids, and you tease each other. But I mean, like nowadays, we never do. I mean, we tease each other sometimes, but except from that, nothing like that.
Did you always want to be involved with the horses? I mean, you guys come from a long line of horse people who have had success everywhere and across the world. So because I was a little similar, family. There was a time when all I wanted to do was horses, and then there was about, I don't know, a 10-year stretch where I discovered football and girls and sports and comic books and stuff like that, where I didn't even want to do anything with horses, and then I got back into it. So was it kind of the similar for you, or?
Well, we had ponies when we were kids, and Marcus and Michaela, they were more interested of it, of course, than I was. Well, not of course, but I had a period when I actually didn't wanted to work with horses and stuff like that. I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do. And then a summer, I think it was like after eighth grade, in the summer, I went out with Marcus to work for the whole summer, and that's when it sparked again.
Did you? Okay, so from then on, you're like driver, trainer, barn. Like where did you see yourself? Owner?
When I started, I was just a groom, of course. I mean, you got to start somewhere, and then I didn't really know. I wanted to work with horses, and I wanted to be a trainer or driver. And when I started coming over here, I drove a little bit in Sweden, but I didn't really start driving more until I actually started working here with Marcus.
Right. So now we're kind of a couple years into that. You guys have all moved in here. You have the farm, Stanley Dancer's old place, and I mean, you guys have really kind of come over, and I mean, is there any other way to put it? But just stamped the name of Melander. Everybody knows the name now. I mean, a couple years ago, maybe, oh, look at this, all these young kind of crew coming over here, but now it's like, no, he's the real deal. That whole stable is whenever you see Marcus Melander down as trainer and a horse, that horse is going to be there pretty much at the end, right?
Well, you never know, of course. I mean, they're all animals, so they can all have bad days and stuff like that. But we try our best, and we got great owners that we've been lucky to get, because without them, I mean, we wouldn't be here where we are right now.
Let's back up a year or two because this is we're going to talk about you driving and helping out at the barn. So when did you have to approach the owners or your brother or however the dichotomy of the barn works and say, listen, like, bro, I'm here to drive? Or was it kind of, I like doing the training, and then eventually, well, I gotta baby race these things and I'm helping out training, and did the driving just eventually work its way in, or did you kind of push the issue and be like, this is really what I want to do?
Well, I started. We had our own, like, we had a couple of overnight horses from the beginning, and I raced them at freehold. And when we started getting more and more babies, and we had a lot of in the baby races, and I got lucky enough to just baby race some of them. And I mean, I didn't do a bad job with them from the beginning, so they kept letting me drive them, and that's just how it started.
Did you feel at any point like, because everybody goes through this. I mean, you take the top drivers, Campbell, Sears, all that. How did you deal with the point where your confidence was not the same as your ability, meaning you raced a horse, baby raced, qualified at whatever it was, and you didn't do as well as you thought. And you thought to yourself, well, damn, what if Sears was on this horse? Like, how much better would he have done? How did you deal with that growing to the ascension where you are now, where I would imagine you feel pretty confident when you jump on a horse? Because that's something that no matter what athlete you do, that's a problem you got to deal with. There's that bridge that you got to cross. How did you deal with that?
Well, I don't really think about it that much. I mean, if we gotta look at it, I mean, I still believe that sometimes, I mean, if you put someone like Brian up and like Yannick and Tim Tetrick and all of those guys, they can really get him going. I mean, they drive so many horses that they just have it, in routine to get him going compared to me because, I mean, I can still get him going, of course, but sometimes, those guys drive a lot of horses and they have that in the routine.
Do you think it's more a confidence of, hey, I know I can do it because I've done this 1,000 times before? And like you said, those guys are driving, who knows, 100 races a week, give or take, where it's a physical reaction to what's going on. It's beyond muscle memory to them. Or is it more mental where it's like, no, I could do a good job like these guys. I mean, I would imagine, take a horse like Chimpanzee. I mean, he's such a amazing horse. Uh, do I put you on the spot and say how many lengths would you have won by if you were driving him the other night?
Well, I wouldn't probably win with more than Brian did because, I mean, a horse like Chimpanzee, I mean, he's just the perfect kind of horse to drive. I got the privilege to qualify him once, and, you know, coming out of the gate there, I mean, you just knew right away that that's the kind of horses you want to drive. He's just an amazing colt.
Was that really the first year where you really started racing in, stakes races and getting a lot of the mounts traveling all over the place? I mean, the stable's spreading out now. It's racing in Pennsylvania, Meadows, New Jersey, New York. It's all over the place. So is that kind of how you take a Marcus would go here, Michaela goes here, you're going here, I'll drive these ones, she'll do these ones? Is that kind of how maybe extra work you got by having to everybody's just going all different directions because of the stable grew?
Well, I mean, like when we go to New York, I mean, Brian's driving all the horses in New York. I never you think about like going to New York most of the time. So I mean, I usually go to Pennsylvania or like New Jersey and stuff like that. And I mean, it's a lot, Marcus, we got to plan everything. I mean, somebody got to go there, somebody got to go there. And I mean, it's not an easy decision. Sometimes you got to make tough decisions not to go with a horse that you maybe want to go because there's another horse that you really need to go that race the same day or something like that. So
Sure.
there's a lot of decision making, but we usually try to make the right decision.
How about one or two races last year? It doesn't have to be a win. I have one in mind, and I want to know your answer to this. Was there a race or two that you drove in? They said, "All right, like I'm here now. Like I know, uh, I'm here. I'm good. I'm confident," because you could see in your ascension, just like Marcus and everybody else, like you're starting to drive more aggressive. You're starting to put horses in play to win more than, let's say, hey, I'm just wanting to get a check. Again, everybody has that ascension, but I'm starting to see with you now, again, more aggressiveness, driving to win, which is that's a tough hump to get over. So, was there a race or two that last year you really felt the most confident?
I had some really nice 2-year-olds that I drove last year that I actually had that gave me a lot of confidence because they were really good horses, like Back of the Neck and Room Pays Off. They made my job easy when I gave them good races. So uh, horse like Room Pays Off, he didn't win all his races. I don't remember how many races he won. I think it's like 3 races he won last year. He was really good in Pennsylvania Sire Stakes Consolation there, Chester. Back of the Neck, he was just amazing in most of his races. He got a little hot on the end of the year there, unfortunately, but except from that, he was just an amazing horse.
How was your? Let's talk about your Breeders' Crown night or two nights. I mean, talk about that. You got a second right in the one final.
Yep, with wrong pace off. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how did you process that? Like, okay, it's not a win, but damn, like, one, was that your biggest purse earnings that you've had? I mean, that would be 100 no, it would be 150 grand, right?
Yep.
To the second place. So you got yourself a nice check. Did you go to Outback or McDonald's and splurge a little bit? Did you
I
put it
was
or did you just put it right in the bank? Your big purse money check there.
no, I didn't think about it that much. I was mostly happy that he was second and he didn't make a break. We got almost made a break there in the last turn where Real Cool Sam was bearing out in the last turn there. So I was just happy that I made him stay trotting, you know. And then afterwards, when I saw the replay, I was like, I could have been closer to the win there if I would have went a little earlier. But you never
Well,
know.
and I mean, you were in a good spot. You're only following, I mean, up until that point, he was pretty much unbeaten, and he ended up being the Dan Patch champion. So you put yourself in a pretty good spot there, right?
Yeah, I was trying to. I mean, everything turned out perfect. I mean, Amigo Vola was just too good that night.
Yeah, well, and like you said, everybody has their. I mean, Breeders' Crown champion, and but hey, you got second, and what about going into this year? You were at the Meadows yesterday. How did you guys fare out there? How has the obviously the break? You haven't been able. Nobody's been able to drive and race. We're only 3 4 weeks underway, really, where everybody's back in the groove. So, did you really want to get back driving? Did you drive over the winter at all?
I did not drive anything. We got a pretty big barn. We got a trainer and everything like that. So I've mostly just stayed at the farm training all winter. And then when I actually started feeling that I wanted to start racing a little bit and putting myself out there, the Corona happened, so I couldn't do it. But I was really excited when we actually started racing again. Yeah.
Right. So now we've got some baby races, some sire stakes. Uh, how did the break did the break affect you at all as far as you personally? Like, all right, it took me a couple weeks to get back in the flow of actual racing.
No, no, not really. I mean, we train at home here and we drive them in the bike here to get them going and everything like that. So, I mean, not really. I mean, as soon as I started baby racing, it was like riding a bike. It just sits in you.
Saturday night, Chimpanzee. How is your feeling about that horse? I mean, do you have much interaction with that horse? I know Natalie's the caretaker of that horse since he was a yearling, correct? And so how does a horse like that, where he's pretty much the superstar of the barn right now, how do you guys handle him? Is it just normal? Is he just another horse in the barn, or does he get some extra special attention?
Well, of course he's gonna get a little bit of special attention. I mean, a horse good like that, he's just everybody's favorite if you look at it. I mean, he's a horse that stands out when he goes out on track because everybody knows who Gimpanzee is. But I mean, except from that, I mean, Natalie does a great job with it, grooming him, and it's Marcus trains or Natalie trains sometimes too, or me or our other trainer Marcus trains as well. So I mean, it's all about teamwork.
Does a horse like him? Would you rather train? Just talking about the daily stuff. He seemed like a horse that literally does nothing wrong. I mean, he looks like he drives with two fingers. You could steer him however you want. He races from the back, from the front, wherever. He can leave. He can do whatever. Is it almost boring to train a horse like him when you've got a 2-year-old that maybe you have to? Okay, this one needs a little bit more education. Whether it's trying to steady him in the turns or hey, he's got to learn how to follow. He's got to learn how to cut a mile. He's got to learn how to pass. Is it you find yourself jumping on a horse like Chimpanzee and feel bored when there's all this probably action going on behind you?
No, you're never bored driving a horse like Chimpanzee. I mean, he he's very funny because he don't do anything wrong. I mean, you can go out there, a baby could drive him. He runs on loose lines. He knows exactly when he's supposed to grab on and everything like that. He's just a perfect gentleman to drive, and you're just happy when you can drive those horses.
Uh, how was were you guys nervous at all heading into the maturity? I mean, obviously post 13, but you have to feel supremely confident with a horse like that at this point now. He's British Crown Champ at 2, British Crown Champ at 3. He won the graduate final pretty handily the week before. I mean, at some point you gotta just go into having all these races. I don't know how many starts he has exactly, but it's almost like, okay, unless we know, and I'm sure he's been sick. Every horse gets sick. Every person gets sick. A couple times he doesn't eat this and that. You probably know, having the horse for 4 years, when he's not had a good day, when he's not had a good week. So is it just kind of normal where it's like, yeah, we're just gonna go out and he's gonna do his thing, and if he's good, he's gonna win? Is that pretty much where you guys are?
Well, there are so many good horses right now, so you can't really tell. I mean, like this weekend we had Post 13. It was a lot of thinking about what he was going to do, but I mean, that's why we got Brian. I mean, that's up to him. We can just do our job to get the horse as good as we need him to be for that day, and then the driver got to figure it out.
And he was pretty good on
Yeah.
Saturday. I mean, really good, like really good. I we There was a couple photos uploaded, that night. Everybody wants to get each race one photo out, But then now the photos are coming in, and there's one photo where, I mean, it's just, I don't know how many lengths it won by, but it's a pretty cool photo by Mike Lizzie where it just shows, I mean, however many lengths between. So that's got to be nice when your horse is kind of pulling away. Or do you prefer to win by just a tiny nose? Do you like races exciting, or no? I'll just win by 10 if I can.
Well, you know, to be honest, it doesn't matter how much you win with. I mean, in my opinion, if you can win with this much or win with 10 lengths, as long as you have a lot of horse left, it's up. It's just the best. If you have
Okay, that's you as the trainer. What about you as the driver? How do you just take any horse? How do you like to win by?
oh, I, I don't need to win with a lot. As long as they win and feel strong over the finish line, I'm happy.